Here's something that's being really understated. If you are a PlayStation 4 owner, tomorrow is an absolutely awesome day for new game releases. We've got 3 major games being released tomorrow that I really want to highlight. Games that might be going a little bit under the radar considering that we've had massive game releases recently. Games like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, games like Devil May Cry 5 going even further back than that, Anthem, Metro Exodus. I wouldn't say from a marquee standpoint that these games are on that level, however, they look to be very, very compelling games. And tomorrow's actually bringing with it some other games outside of these 3 titles. MLB The Show 19 is also being released tomorrow, although I just don't typically cover sports games on this channel, so you guys won't be hearing me talk about that, but if you're into baseball games, that's gonna be another pretty great title that PlayStation 4 gamers can check out. However, the 3 games that I want to highlight in today's video include an open-world survival title in Generation Zero, an open-world RPG in Outward, and a JRPG that I've always been singing the praises of. The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel finally makes its transition to the PlayStation 4. That's very exciting. A lot of variety in all 3 of these games, and I want to kick things off by talking about Generation Zero. This is the latest game coming from Avalanche Studios, a studio that's been very busy. Last year, towards the end of 2018, they put out Just Cause 4. Unfortunately, that game didn't turn out all too well, being that it was a little bit of a step back given what Avalanche has done in the past. They're also helping out with the release of Rage 2, but their self-published title is Generation Zero, and this game looks so interesting. It has you enter 1980s Sweden, the local population has disappeared, and hostile machines roam the streets. You explore an open world to unravel the mystery, perfect your fighting strategies, and prepare to strike back. This is an open world survival title, and you can play it alone or together with up to 3 friends as you discover ways to defeat the invaders. And I have to say that this is a game that's probably going to be the best if you're playing with a group of friends, up to 4-player co-op, and that'll probably add a lot of longevity to the game. I imagine that if you do play the game solo, yes, it'll be an interesting experience, but just based on the footage I'm seeing thus far, it does look like the experience is going to be enhanced with multiplayer, so that is something that should be noted. There looks to be a lot of depth to this game. You'll take on missions and challenges throughout the open world to unravel more of the mystery of the world while scavenging for weapons and supplies to help you stay alive. Tactically combine weapons, skills, and equipment to lure, cripple, and destroy your enemy. 1 to 4 player seamless multiplayer, and you'll have to combine your own unique skills to take down these enemies. And of course, the enemies are so interesting. You have a variety of different mechs and robots. Some enemies are too powerful to attack head-on, which is when you should adopt a stealth tactic by moving silently, exploiting the enemy's senses, and using the environment to your advantage. And on top of that, even though pretty serious in tone, the presentation of this game is awesome and the setting is great. 1980s Sweden just looks to be a super interesting game, and in terms of premise, so unique and compelling compared to everything else being released on the market today. And best of all, you guys know me, I'm always an advocate of not spending $59.99 for a game, or when a game is released, hey, how about pricing it less than $59.99? Well, that's what Avalanche Studios is doing with Generation Zero. They had the say on it since it is a self-published game. It'll be released at a very palatable $34.99, and that's a much easier sell to all your friends if you do want to get a party to play the game together, to tell your friend, hey, pick up this game, it's being released at $35 instead of a full $60 price point. I think that's pretty good, and as a self-published title by Avalanche, you know they want as many people as possible to play the game, and what better way to increase the accessibility for a game like Generation Zero than having it priced at nearly half of what every other game these days is priced at. I think that was a great idea, and in terms of it from a technical standpoint, it's not like that $35 price point is making it falter at all. Avalanche is known for games with stunning visuals, and we're seeing that once again with Generation Zero. So that's just one game out tomorrow. That's an open world action adventure survival title, and it looks pretty damn good. From one open world game to another one, this one I'm a little bit more skeptical on, just because while it does look very ambitious, I just have no idea how it's gonna turn out, and that is the open world RPG in Outward. Outward's description is this: no remarkable journey is achieved without great effort. Outward is an open world RPG where the cold of the night or an infected wound can be as dangerous as a predator lurking in the dark. Explore the vast world, embark on memorable adventures alone or with your friends. So another game that's probably going to be accentuated if you do play it with a couple of friends, so that's something to note with Outward as well. And what's interesting about this game and the element that they're really pushing forward is that with a lot of other open world RPGs or RPGs in general, sometimes you do play as a pretty overpowered character. In this one, you're not a god, you're not a chosen one. The path before you is fraught with perils, and Outward touts an immersive RPG experience coupled with survival gameplay, offering a deeply rewarding challenge for the most avid of gamers. As an ordinary adventurer, you'll not only have to hide or defend yourself against threatening creatures, but also brave the hazardous environmental conditions, protect yourself against infectious diseases, make sure you get enough sleep and stay hydrated, embark on perilous expeditions across untamed lands to reach new cities, undertake varied missions, and discover hidden dungeons crawling with formidable enemies. Again, you can play the game solo, but you can also share the journey with a friend locally or online, so you've got local co-op in there as well. That's something great to see. When was the last time we had a new open world RPG also have local cooperative play? I don't know, maybe we've had that recently, but we don't see it often. I think that's fair to say. So it's great to see that Outward will be bringing that to the table. The game specifically touts survive in the wilds as you explore the land, play solo or cooperatively, split screen locally or online, ritualistic step-by-step approach to spellcasting, constant auto-saving means you must live with your decisions, dynamic scenarios, and a unique experience with every playthrough. This is a game that maybe, I would say, don't rush out and pick it up right away when it's released. However, definitely a title to keep an eye on, see how the general reception is, and then go from there. It could be one of the more surprising games of 2019. So those are two very compelling new open world titles that are being released. I think both of those games are going to attract a lot of gamers. Another game that's being released tomorrow for you guys that dig JRPGs, The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel will finally be making the transition to the PlayStation 4 with the release of the very first title. And yes, it's the very first game in a 4-part game series. However, even though this is part 1 of a 4-part series, this game is insanely long. You're talking about a 60 to 80 hour experience. Now, if you do rush through it, you can complete it a little bit quicker, maybe in that 40-hour range. And do know that Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 1, because again, it is the first part in the series, it is a little bit more slower paced, and it does set the table for everything that's to come. It does really pick up towards the end, and the game has one of the best plot twists that I've ever seen in a JRPG, and I've played a ton of JRPGs, but the plot twist at the end of this game, you don't see it coming, but it all makes sense, and I just want to go more into it, but I know I can't. But to avoid spoilers, just know that it's really great, and you've got a stellar cast of characters. All of them are very engaging, and throughout the entirety of this game, you see all of them be developed. You see all of them have their reasoning to be in the party, and they all have their unique backstory that make you more attached to these characters, and I found every single character in this game to be rather likable. Now, from a visual standpoint, is it anything to write home about? No. Bear in mind that this was a PlayStation Vita title that was then ported to the PlayStation 3 and PC, and visually, it doesn't hold up to modern PlayStation 4 games, but for JRPG fans, usually that's not one of the top points that they're concerned about. What you guys are usually concerned about is the characters, the storytelling, the gameplay, the presentation, music, and all of those elements are done really, really well. I've always gone to bat for The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel, and those of you that have played these games always comment and appreciate the fact that I go to bat for this franchise because I know how good it is, and now we're finally seeing it come to the PlayStation 4, and hopefully with the PS4 release, it continues to get Western appeal. Now, as I mentioned, this is a 4-part series, so what does it mean for the rest of the franchise? Well, we know Trails of Cold Steel 2 will be coming very soon after this game. I believe it'll be released in May, and NIS America will be localizing Trails of Cold Steel 3 in the fall. So yes, if you're just getting into this series, 2019 will bring all 3 of those games coming to the PlayStation 4, so that is very exciting. I imagine part 4 will come in 2020 or 2021. That game has an absurd amount of dialogue from what I've heard, so it might take a little while to localize that, and given all the text that's in Trails of Cold Steel 3, I'm kind of surprised that NIS is going to be able to get it out before the end of 2019. Let's just hope it's a pretty good translation, but the job that XE did with Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, that was very good, and we already know what we're getting out of this game on the PlayStation 4. This version also does have some improvements. You have a turbo mode if you do want to go through the dungeons a little bit quicker, and that does make the game a little bit more accessible to those of you that don't want to spend, say, 80 hours on a game. It'll make the experience a bit quicker, but essentially you're just getting a great JRPG here, so if you're a fan of JRPGs, I would highly recommend it. Now, I should add that if you're more of a newcomer to JRPGs and you're just looking for a game to get into the genre with, this probably isn't the best one, considering how grandiose it is in scale, and going through all 4 of those games is going to take a very, very long time, and it definitely has a lot of Japanese elements that might be a little bit off-putting to newcomers, but if you're an avid JRPG fan, of course, Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel is a must-play. The only bummer about this one is that it is being released at a $49.99 price point, which could be seen as a little bit hefty, because again, this is originally a PlayStation Vita game, but hey, $50 for 60 to 80 hours of content, from a value standpoint, it doesn't seem all too bad. A little bit biased there from me, and honestly, that could be seen as a little bit hypocritical, but nonetheless, if you are a JRPG fan, you're gonna have a lot of fun with Trails of Cold Steel. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, tomorrow is a great day for PlayStation 4 owners with all of these new game releases, and it's being unsung a little bit because these games aren't as mainstream as, say, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice or Devil May Cry 5 or Resident Evil 2, some of the big games released this year. But in terms of how compelling they are, with games like Generation Zero, Outward, and The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel, they're all diverse, they all offer a lot of variety. For some of you guys, you might want to pick up one of these titles, you might want to pick two. For some of you, you might want to pick up all three, and you maybe even want to get MLB The Show 19. But that's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.